All right, we're gonna test out the audio, see if we're sounding, see if we have any sound.
You're in a fishbowl.
Am I back in the fishbowl? How about now? I think now it sounds like it's a little. All right, guys, hang tight. Let's check this audio. Every week it changes. Something's always different. I bet you that won't be. Let's get you fixed. So let's hope every time we refresh that, we don't have to fix that. See if that works. Check. 1, 2. Is that better?
Good now.
All right. See, that's what happens then every time we hit refresh. I wonder if it's going to kick us. If anybody knows any streaming platforms out there other than Be Live, let us know because we were in the market this week. It's really quick, and that's why
it would not take much to convince us anymore.
That's why we do the sound check before we go live too, or not before we go live, but before we start the show, and then you get to hear it back on Apple or Spotify, and it sounds like it was a perfect show, and you never know. Can you give me a little more in my ears by any chance?
Yeah, I was just thinking that too.
I'm like really, I feel like I'm really low.
Stop.
Let's turn our mics up then. Maybe it's our mics. Make sure we don't go too loud on the live feed. That sounds better on my end. So, all right. Let me see what you think. Sound better on your end? On the vocal, on the levels? No? Was it too loud?
You're in the fish. I feel like you're echoing again.
Sorry, guys. Give us 1 minute. We want to make sure we're good to go before. Yeah, kick this out again.
Yeah, there it goes.
Now it's back to normal? What?
It's good now.
So we took 2 weeks off to work out all these problems. The only thing that happened is we didn't work out any problems for some reason.
We can figure it out, yeah. All right, let's go.
All right, guys. We're going to try this out. If anytime the sound goes out, we'll figure it out, but we'll keep recording on our end. And when you listen to it back,
let us know in the chat.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. And when you listen to it back, it'll be fine. So, all right. Oh, yeah. And I'll throw another disclaimer out there. If it sounds like the ceiling's falling in, we have a. So hear me? You lost all audio again? Mm-hmm. Even me. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, hang tight. Before we start, we're going to make sure. So, like, now I'm going to get a comment on YouTube. I didn't think we were on YouTube tonight. And they said they could hear us just fine.
I mean, go ahead. We might as well go. It's fine. It just sounds like you're echoey again, but it's fine. I don't know what else to. Mm-mm. Worry about me. Just worry about yours right now.
Mm-hmm. Can you still hear me online, though? Or you still have audio online? Or did you lose that?
Yeah, but you're in a fishbowl again.
Really?
It's kicking you out. It doesn't sound like that on the board. It doesn't sound like that on the board. So just
unmute both of them because you're keeping both unmuted. See how it keeps kicking out. All right, guys, hang tight. We are sorry about this, but we want to make sure we are 100% working and up and running right before we start this show. See why it keeps doing it. So now we should be fine. We should be on normal audio. Everything should be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know if anything changes. Now, how do we sound online?
I hear nothing. Oh, I hear you now. Yeah, you're
It
good.
sounds fine. It
Yep,
sounds
you're
fine.
good. Yep.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and try to start this and see what happens. Just give me a something happens, guys. We do apologize again. Hello and welcome everyone to season 6 of the Melodies and Memories podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Shriver.
And I'm your co-host, Jillian.
Our mission tonight is to provide a platform for motivated singer-songwriters, passionate fans, or someone who's making a difference in and around the music community. We hope everyone listening leaves inspired with a positive outlook and begins connecting their own melodies to memories. Tonight we are presented by our good friends at Arlo Revolution, cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. Find them at arlorevolution.com. One tree planted. For every 1,000 downloads of the show, we plant a tree with one tree planted. You can download the show on your favorite podcast app and pod decks. Pod decks are the hottest tool to get your next great interview. Sponsors tonight are Art on a Hardwire by Joel, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. And Shed Services. At Shed Services, we offer a full range of maintenance services depending on your needs. Find them at shedservices.com. Looking for ways to support or sponsor Melodies and Memories? Then head over to our Patreon page. Tiers start at just $1. A Patreon is something you can't do it. The next best way to support the show is to like, share, review, and subscribe anywhere you can find us. So remember, you can join us live every Monday night at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. We thought we had an issue with our YouTube tonight, but I think it might be fixed, so we'll have to figure that out. Well, here you can interact with the show, ask questions, or join in on a live chat with your favorite guests. Remember to visit our website, melodiesandmemories.com, for music news, concert reviews, and photos, playlists, and more. So, you ready for the show tonight? This is going to be a good one. I am very excited. So, we talked a little bit with our guests, and we kind of share this story, but was 2 months ago, we were on our way. Was it about 2 months?
No, we actually had it in July.
Yeah, it was in July. We were on our way to my 40th birthday party, and I was just on a singer-songwriter playlist on Spotify. And if you guys are ever driving down the road and a song comes on where you just kind of freeze at the wheel and you're stone cold, just like frozen, can't really say anything, you're just listening, hair standing on your arms. You almost have to pull over at one point because you're just like, damn, this song is just really getting you. This was the song, or you're going to hear that song, but this is the artist that wrote that song. And to me, I was just blown away. And I'm like, I looked at Jillian, I think one of our first words was, we got to have him on the show sometime. We got to bring him on because we got to hear his story. So tonight we welcome in Tommy Karlas for episode 140. This Illinois native as well has been grinding since he moved to Nashville at the age of 19. A singer-songwriter with a lot of heartfelt songs. Tonight we are honored to discuss the melodies and memories that make up his journey. We're going to welcome Tommy on.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. How you doing?
What's up, buddy? Can you hear us? Or no?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I think we're good.
All right. Sorry, man. We had a little bit of issues right there at the beginning, and I don't know what was going on, but we are glad that we got them worked out. And I wasn't going to have the show until we had it worked out, so I know it's going to be a good one with you, man.
Yes, sir.
Dude, so you're an Illinois native as well. We're outside Chicago. I know you're Southern Illinois, correct? You're outside Alton, or where?
Yeah, Alton, Illinois. I always tell people St. Louis because it's the biggest one that they would notice, but it's about 30 minutes from there. I went to Roxana High School, which is right near Alton, Illinois. And
yeah, so we're
go ahead.
Yeah, we're up closer to like Gurnee area, outside like that way, that kind of like north, what they call it the cornerstone. But Alton, man, I'm gonna tell you, I got some stories in Alton we'll have to share one time because for a while there, I was chasing that whole ghost thing, and Alton was known as the most famous haunted small town, man. And I got to spend a couple nights down there in some really cool locations in Alton.
Yeah, we're also famous for the tallest man that ever lived, Robert Wadlow. He was 8'11".
Wow, man, that is crazy.
That's crazy.
So we like to start the show off the same every week and throw it way back. We're going to throw it back probably to Alton area, man, and kind of what you grew up listening to. What was your parents playing? And I always like to ask everybody their first concert experience.
Well, man, my first concert was Brooks and Dunn, which made me, kind of fall in love with country and that 90s country. And Garth Brooks was another one of the first ones. But, man, the thing that made me fall in love with music is my cousin would play guitar and sing songs at family functions. He'd play James Taylor and Jim Croce, and that kind of made me fall in love with it and learn about music and just fall in love with playing music. And he taught me a few chords, and I basically learned how to play Country Roads by John Denver, and it was off from there.
Are you getting a lot of feedback on your end?
Yeah. Are you on Wi-Fi? You're on a Wi-Fi?
Am I on Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are? Okay.
We were getting a lot of feedback. You're breaking up a lot.
Yeah. We're connected on our.
You want me to turn on cellular?
Try that and see if we get a little bit better connection. See what happens with that. Because it was a great story, and then we hear a little bit and then it break up. I'm like, So you're saying?
How about?
Go ahead.
Is that better now?
I think so. I think so too.
Okay.
So Brooks and Dunn was your first concert, man. What kind of takeaway did you have from that show, seeing those two guys up there on stage? Were you already writing songs at that point?
No, I wasn't. I was pretty much just falling in love with music at that point. It wasn't until, like I said, my cousin started to play at family functions that I really fell in love with music and learned how to play guitar.
That's cool.
Especially the James Taylor part, man. I love that. That's just what my dad grew me up on, dude. I love me some old school James Taylor, and that would make you fall in love with music really fast and be like, all right, now I'm curious. So, how old were you when you first wrote your first song?
I was 12. I wrote it for a school play, and they used it. And then I started doing a talent show, and then about a year later, I was like, I'm going to take a trip to Nashville and go to the Bluebird Cafe. And that's when it all started from there.
Oh, that's cool.
That was it was about 5-hour drive right down to Nashville. And you said 13, 14, started going down there. Is that when you kind of just was getting the itch? And I mean, you moved down there, right outside high school?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I at 14, I went to Nashville. I went to the Bluebird Cafe, and I saw Dean Dillon and Hugh Presswood, Gary Burr, and fell in love with it from there, and made the 5-year plan to move to Nashville. And at 19, I moved here, and I had a plan. The typical time back then was 5 to 7 years that it takes to get a publishing deal. I ended up getting really lucky my first week, which I can tell you about that too.
Yeah, go ahead, man. I love to hear about how you got lucky the first week.
You got it. All right. Is the connection seem to be good?
It's a little better, yeah.
Yeah, it's. I was on Wi-Fi and hardwired. I'm just gonna go straight hardwired and see if maybe that was not anything on my end.
We're still getting a little breakup, but not as bad as it was.
Yeah, this is a lot better.
Okay. No, so I moved to Nashville at 19, and I didn't know anybody really, and I went to a BMI workshop to pitch to a publisher, and Hamstein was the #1 independent publishing company at the time, and they were there, and songwriters could pitch their songs to somebody from that publishing company. Well, out of 50 songs, they kept 2, and both of them were mine and my co-writers. And this is my first week in Nashville. And the next day, the president of that publishing company, Jeff Carlton, called us in. And that first week, he pretty much, within a few weeks, offered me my first publishing deal. So, that was 5 to 7 years ahead of schedule.
That's amazing.
That is crazy that would happen like that off the bat and that quickly for you.
That's awesome.
Now, when you first started writing songs, did you want people to hear them? Like, did you want to say, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be, and I want this to be heard? Were you kind of, I want to keep these for myself?
No, I'm probably one of those rare cases. I always just wanted to write songs. I mean, since I was 14, 15, I dreamt of being able to walk into Walmart and, picking up a CD and seeing my name on there, and just having somebody else do it. I mean, I enjoy singing. I think singing helps me write songs, but I've always just been in love with the process of creating it and going in the studio and bringing it alive.
Man, and this is crazy. And when you went down there at 19, was it hard for you at all to really start playing? Because all the bars are 21. I mean, I know sometimes, all right, hey, we'll open the back door, but for the first couple of years, what were you doing to kind of get some gigs and start playing?
Well, it really, that's why it is a little bit easier in that arena to just try to be a songwriter, because I wasn't really trying to be the artist, so I really didn't feel like I needed to get those kind of gigs. I just felt like I needed to meet people and network and get in with publishers. I knew finding a publisher was the key to it. And man, maybe I would have had to do all that, but I just got so lucky on that first week, them taking our songs and meeting Jeff Carlton, the president of Hamstein, and getting that first deal led to the genesis of everything that's happened to me. Like it led me to all my best friends, all my big cuts, everything that happened. So if I wouldn't have gone into that BMI workshop, I don't know where I'd be.
Man.
That's awesome.
It's cool because, I mean, it's a place you had to be. I mean, it felt like you felt like you belonged there. You had to be there because that's just one of those crossing stones, I guess you'd say. And is that the same time where I read somewhere you had a major surgery and you got evicted all in the same week? Is this the same? Is this how the same thing happened? Yeah.
Well, the last thing you said kind of leads into that. Like I had anticipated 5 to 7 years, and in my mind, 5 to 7 years would give me time to get to a place where I was confident before I would get a publishing deal. Being 19 and signing a publishing contract it was very, very intimidating for me. I mean, I think like a lot of folks, I had imposter syndrome. I once heard Mike Myers say it the best way. He said, like, I felt the no talent police were 5 minutes behind me. And it was like, I didn't really feel like I knew what I was doing. But like everything good that has ever happened, it's basically just jumping in and having faith that you're going to figure it out and kind of faking it. But I did that. I got that deal. I was there for 4 years. And then I went to another company that was one of the best companies, still is in Nashville, Big Yellow Dog. And that deal, I was still in a place where I was still so insecure and nervous. And I basically paralyzed myself creatively with fear. And when I got let go of that deal, it was like a weight off of my shoulders. And I just decided I was going to get back to writing songs for me and not putting the pressure to be commercial or, write a certain kind of thing. But yeah, the week I got let go, I was living with Ward Davis. I don't know if y'all know him and Cody Buds. And Ward was not paying rent for 3 or 4 months and not telling me. And so we got evicted. I lost my publishing deal, and I had an inch in diameter kidney stone, all within the same week. And there was just something about all that happening kind of makes you just let go and go with it. And man, it was two months later, I was sitting in my room at 2 a.m. and came up with Roll With Me. And I knew before anyone ever heard it that it was going to be my first hit. And a year and a couple months later, it was #1 for a few weeks. So it was just a good thing that it happened, and I went through those struggles.
What kept you going, man, for those 2 months in between pretty much the week of your lowest week of your life to writing that song? What kept you going? What kept you in Nashville, for one? What made you say, hey, I'm just going to pack this up and just go back to East Alton? I mean, what kept you going, dude?
Man, I think at least me when I was young, and I think for a lot of us when we're young, like we think we're going to set the world on fire, and we have a little bit of naivete that we can do anything that we want to. That's what I had, man. I had no doubt that I was going to make it and that I was going to succeed. it was basically ignorance because I really didn't know how hard it would be or the struggles that I'd go through. But I just had the confidence, and being young, you do that. You don't have a whole lot at stake, and why not try it? But honestly, man, that deal that I lost was way harder than losing it, because I just put so much pressure on myself, and it was a good lesson for me to learn to have a certain degree of detachment from this. It can't be too important, or else it kind of strangles your creativity. You gotta keep that childlike love for it and just enjoy doing it like anything.
I love that, man. So you have songs cut by Blake Shelton, Randy Travis, Old Dominion, Montgomery Gentry, Trisha Yearwood, Warren Ziders, which is a personal favorite of ours, Ray Scott, another one, Trey Lewis. So many, dude. You've been in the room with so many greats. I want to know something. I want you to tell me a little story about playing for like 100,000 people at the Arch back in your hometown, because St. Louis, Alton, I mean, it's kind of like us. So we're from outside Chicago. People are like, where are you from? Chicago. So I'm sure growing up, you're like, where are you from? St. Louis. I'm from the St. Louis area. So coming back and be able to play that, was it a Montgomery Gentry show that you got to be a part of?
Yeah, Montgomery Gentry was playing the 4th of July, 2011. It was about a year or so after they'd had my hit, and Troy asked me if I wanted to get up and sing Roll With Me in my hometown under the arch on the 4th of July. I mean, that was by far the biggest crowd I'd probably ever will play for, and probably the coolest performance I've ever got to do. He asked me to go up there because that's the kind of guy he was. Troy Gentry he was an awesome, giving dude, and he was always looking how he could improve other people's lives. And he asked me to do that, and like right before I go on, he comes over, he goes, sorry, man, I just realized we don't have monitors for you. Like, you're not going to be able to hear yourself. So, I mean, it was 110,000 people, and I was going on, and I wasn't going to be able to hear myself. But I had sang the song so many times that I just kind of had it memorized, and I ended up doing a pretty good job.
Hell yeah, man.
That's
You
awesome.
out there, hey, you have to go out there and own it, man. You get your one shot, you got to take it and do the best you can, right?
There's nothing like that, though. I mean, like having 110,000 people or whatever it was singing your song with you on that stage under the arch in your hometown. It was just one of the coolest moments of my life. I'll always remember it.
Very cool. Yeah.
I love that. And another thing that stood out to me when I was researching for this show, and something that I'm very proud that you're a part of. We have a good friend. Well, we had a good friend. I know his memorial was coming up, but Rick Tiger was a part of Creative Vets. I want to know how you kind of got partnered with those guys, and just kind of what it's all about for you, because it's an organization. What they do is just amazing to keep with the veterans. So tell me a little bit about that, man.
Yeah. In 2013, 2014, I met the baseball player Barry Zito. Barry is a musician, has always been a musician, always wanted to pursue music. And I didn't know who he was. I stopped paying attention to baseball back when I moved here. And we got together and we hit it off and we became buddies. And eventually we started doing some Christian ministries together. And one of them was that. And he introduced me to that. And I started writing with those guys. And now it's, I work with them probably 2 or 3 times a month. It's probably the most impactful thing I do. I mean, what Richard Casper does, who he's a veteran himself that healed himself through music and art therapy. And he just really has a grasp on how to help these guys because he went through it himself. So yeah, it's an awesome organization. If you all get a chance, check it out, creativevets.org.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I know. I first heard about when I know Rick Tiger did a song or two with them, and when I started looking at it, I was like, I really love how they give back and what they do for veterans over there. So it's something I was watching there. We've been showing a couple pictures, and we talked a little bit about it, but playing the Bluebird, man, that had to be something for you for the first time. Had to be a top one your bucket list. Tell me a little bit about playing the historic venue and maybe a memory that you take home from playing there.
Yeah, man. I mean, there was a movie back when I was a kid. Do you remember the movie A Thing Called Love?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was with Joaquin. Phoenix, or River Phoenix. I can't remember. Anyway, it was about the bluebird, and I had fell in love with the
River
bluebird
Phoenix.
when I
The
was.
Blue River.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
And so anyway, yeah, that's what made me want to be a songwriter was the Bluebird, seeing Dean Dillon and Hugh Presswood, like I said. So I got to play there probably my second or third year, like a normal show, and I've got to play there two or three times a year ever since. My coolest time though was probably I was playing the Bluebird the night I found my song went to #1. So that definitely was probably the coolest.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. See, that just talks about being in the right place at the right time. Being there and having all those songs that only two songs cover your guys. When you're talking about earlier, now being the Bluebird and then coming back and play it full circle. I love seeing those moments, man, come to fruition, if you would say. So it took you about 2 decades to finally start releasing your own music. Why did you wait so long? I guess sort of say, did you like just kind of doing the songwriter thing, or did you always want to pursue the artist thing? I'm good friends with Jonathan Singleton. He always talks about like the artist thing or the songwriter thing, and he tried doing the artist thing for a while. And he didn't like it. He talks about it. And I know some people just rather just be a songwriter and stay doing that. And were you just comfortable doing that for so long, and then just say, "Hey, it's my turn"?
Man, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. One, songwriting has always been #1. And I knew whenever I moved here that people would take me more seriously in a certain way, at least back then, if they knew I was just a songwriter, because it was my #1 priority. There's something cool. I've always thought about the life of getting up, writing songs every day, going in the studio and going home and living your normal life. If I would have had the chance to do the artist thing, I would have done it. And but I think the reason I finally put my album out was because for the last 10 years it's gotten a lot harder to get songs cut. And my #1 thing has always been I just want the song to be out there. I just want the song to get heard. And I felt, and starting 2015, I had written an album's worth of songs that were really great and just wanted to get them out there. So I just, Jamie Calhoun, actually, who's one of the best administrative people in Nashville, she kind of helped me and inspired me to get this album out there. And man, it's blown my expectations away. Not that it's huge or anything, but I just never would have thought it would get the reaction it's gotten so far, especially Lessons.
Yeah, man. But like I said, Lessons is we'll get into that here in a little bit. But man, that song it was life changing for me because it just kind of put a lot of stuff into perspective for me. And at the moment when I heard it, for you, man, what was the rest of your 2022 look like? 2023? Are you gonna be out playing any shows? Any new music coming in the works, or that you could talk about? But what do you got in the works, man, or what's in the pipeline for you?
Well, about a year ago, I signed my most recent publishing deal with Sony Music, a co-venture with Jim Catino, Drop Time. And man, it's by far the best deal I've ever had. The opportunities are there. That's definitely my #1 main focus. Having said that, I am going to be doing a lot of shows. I'll be playing the Bluebird in October. September and October, I'm going to probably do 6 or 7 songwriter shows in the Midwest on the weekends. I'll be in Beach Cove, Indiana, September 16th, 17th. I'll be in my hometown September 10th. Also, by the way, Creative Vets is doing a fundraising thing September 12th at the Country Music Hall of Fame. There's going to be artists and songwriters that are going to be playing there too, if y'all are around. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm going to keep just focusing on the songwriting because I want to take advantage of being in the place I've always wanted to be in as far as a publisher goes. Because, you don't have a lot of time. This is my 8th, 9th publishing deal. I've been here 20 years. And most publishing deals are 3 or 4 years, that you get before you start getting to the place where the numbers don't add up. So, that's my focus. I probably will put another album out in the spring or summer next year. But for right now, man, I'm just trying to write as many as these artists as I can and my buddies and just try to get songs cut. You with me?
Yeah.
Right here. Sorry,
I-
I have a delay.
I think we got put on delay. Like I still heard you talking, but I saw you not moving.
I think we're delayed for a second.
It turned into those old Japanese movies.
Yeah.
So, all right, buddy. Well, we're gonna move on to our sponsored section of the night. We pulled 2 cards earlier, and this is a cool question that I came up when I was looking through the cards. But do you think streaming services like Spotify are good or bad for music?
Man, I think they're good for music, and I think they're good for artists as far as building grassroots. The thing that they just on the complete opposite end is paying songwriters. I mean, it's still not anywhere that it should be. I think it has diminished my profession, by a pretty large amount, because they're just not paying us what they probably should. So in that aspect, I think
I totally agree.
yeah. Does that make
Yeah, it's good and it's bad in its own little way. But yeah, I definitely agree that songwriters, which I know has been a battle for years on that. And I hopefully one day, man, dude, because you guys are, without you guys, where would we have? We wouldn't have no songs, man. So, I mean, I think that should be the first priority when it comes to royalties, but you never know. So, in our second card we pulled, what do you think is more important in a song, the melody or the lyrics?
That's a good question. I honestly, I think overall the melody is more important because that's what music is. It's the sound of something and the combination of the notes. I mean, like, especially country's the only one where the lyric matters a little bit more, I think. But like Yellow Ledbetter by Pearl Jam, I don't have a clue what that song says, but I love it because it has a cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a couple songs like that I know.
Yep.
I took Joanne to see Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field, man, and she was like, "What the hell is going on here?"
It was good.
Well, we had a blast, man. We had a blast. It was I don't know if you ever heard, but they had a rain delay, and they didn't start playing until almost like midnight.
They started playing at like midnight.
And then it played till like 3 a.m. or something.
People were sleeping in the bleachers. It was crazy.
But Eddie Vedder, whenever he goes to play a place, he always finds a body of water. I used to live on a boat on Old Hickory Lake, and Eddie Vedder came there one time. I didn't see him, but I heard a story from someone. He just went out and started swimming in the lake, and some people came, and he was swimming by himself, all alone, without a boat. And some people came and picked him up. They're like, "Man, you want to ride back to land?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And they get in the boat, and they're like, "Man, I know you." It's like, "You're Eddie Vedder, aren't you?" It's like, you're coming to Eddie Vedder just swimming in the middle of the lake.
That's so random.
Yeah.
It sounds like him. You'll
That
catch
is so
him.
random.
You'll catch him at Wrigley a lot of Cubs games. He'll be out just wandering around, wandering aimlessly around Wrigley Field. People are like, "Well, that's just Eddie Vedder," but he's just doing his thing. All right, so this next segment is one of my favorites, man. We picked 4 songs, and we kind of think of maybe around, you and I were probably around the same age. So a couple of these, we'll see you got some good memories on it. But this first one will be an interesting one. Go ahead and play, let's see. Yellow. First memory you have with this song. So I had to pull the Nickelback out. Can you hear it? No, you can't hear it. So is Nickelback How You Remind Me is the song? If that comes out, do you have any memories with that song?
That takes me back to high school. High school football games is the first thing that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, let me load up this next one real quick. I wonder if I've noticed this before in the past, that people on iPhones can't hear that when we play the song.
Try again.
So we'll try again. Go ahead and hit the green one. Can you hear that one or no? No.
No,
So
sorry.
it's all good. Tim McGraw, Red Rag Top. When you hear Tim McGraw, man, where does that song take you?
Yeah, that takes. So Chris Burgess was my very first professional co-write, and he wrote for Byron Gallimore, McGraw's producer. And I got to hear the demo of that song before it came out. Rusty Gaston, I think, was the one that played it. And I just remember hearing the songwriter. I can't remember who it was. He wrote it by himself, but I remember hearing the demo of that. And that just being one of those standout songs, one of the best songs of 2 or 3 year period. That's what comes to mind.
I love that, man. All right, so what we'll do is I'm going to play a little bit of the song, and then I'll just tell you what it is, too, since you won't be able to hear it anyway. So go ahead and play the next one.
Yellow?
Yeah, go ahead and play Yellow. So it's Fire and Rain, James Taylor. So I wanted to throw it back. I mean, when I research these songs, I see who you kind of grew up listening to, and I love how we connected a little bit on the James Taylor, how you said when you're 14 there. But when you hear that song, man, where does it take you?
That definitely takes me to my older cousin playing at family functions. He always played that song, and man, that was where I fell in love with music. He had such passion for it. He had a great voice, and like it would just change the atmosphere of the room whenever he played, and you could just see the power of music. I don't know where. I don't think I'd be doing this if I hadn't witnessed that.
I love
That's
that,
awesome.
man. I love that. I was hoping that's what you'd say to take you back to that moment. Yeah. So our last one, we'll go ahead and play that. Go ahead and play it. And I love it because I had to get a live version, but it's Dean Dillon singing "The Chair" by George Strait. So when you hear Dean Dillon, "The Chair," where does that take you?
That takes me back to the years that I fell in love with country music, and it makes me think about the story of him writing that on the boat. I think somebody said to him, like, "Hey, man, yeah." He said something. Somebody said something about he could write a song about anything. He said, "We'll write a song about that chair," and it's like, wow, to come up with.
That's
just,
amazing.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if I've ever heard that story, but I love it.
I was just gonna say I've never heard that before, but that's cool.
I love that. So, all right. Well, before we wrap up and we get you to play a song, we always like to put everybody on the hot seat real quick. What it is this kind of like the same thing. We're gonna ask you a quick question. First thing that comes to mind, spit it out, and we're gonna put a little music in the background. 60 seconds. The first vinyl record you ever purchased.
The first vinyl record I ever purchased. Leanne Womack, the I Hope You Dance.
Nice.
Yeah.
If you had an endless supply of something, what would it be?
Steaks.
Ooh, I love it. Who has the best pizza you've ever had?
I would say the Joey's Pizza.
What's the strangest thing you've ever seen in the middle of the road?
Ooh. I would say a buzzard, dead buzzard.
All right. The worst day job you've ever had?
Worst day job. Mowing lawns, weed eating very large commercial buildings.
Ooh, that would suck. What's one thing people buy you think is a waste of money?
Oh gosh. That's a hard one. Dang it. Probably video games. I don't know.
You're the second person to say that. You're the second person to say video games. I've had people who would argue that, and I've had other people who are like, "Oh no, I agree." And I'm starting to think that too lately. I'm like, man, now that we have kids, seeing the kids play the video games all the time, it's like, all right, yeah, no. What's a song you wish you wrote?
A lot of things different. Another Dean Dillon song.
Love that one. What's something on your to-do list that never gets done?
Something on my to-do. What do you mean never gets done?
That you never do. What's something on your to-do list that you keep putting off to the side that you never do? Unless you're one that does everything on your to-do list.
maybe pursue pickleball a little bit more. I like a passion of mine. I don't get time to do.
All right. I love that. That's a good answer. And then what's your favorite microwavable food?
Probably lasagna.
Ooh, that's a good one. Now, our last one, this one's kind of a fun one. So you got to play the Bluebird. You've had a number one. What's still left on your musical bucket list? Something that you still would like to achieve yourself before you kind of hang up your boots?
I think a Tim McGraw cut. I've always wanted a Tim McGraw cut.
Nice. All right. I can see that happening, man. Definitely. Now, if Tim McGraw heard Lessons and he wanted it, would you give it to him?
Actually, it's funny you say that because that's probably my number one priority on that song. I just want him to hear it, and then I can rest.
Mm-hmm.
I
could see
love
you
that.
cut that song.
I could too.
For sure.
I totally could see that, dude. That's why I love it. Because there's always those one songs, like, and I know we're going to move on to lessons, but I like bringing this up because there's some songs that writers don't like giving away, that they're so personal of a song that, hey, those are mine. Do you have any of those that you kind of keep to yourself, or are you kind of an open book? Someone wants one, I'm going to let them have it.
No, I mean, I don't want, I'm never really wanting to keep it for myself, but I may want to keep the bar high about who does it, specific song.
Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. I agree.
That. I love that. All right, man. Well, before we let you go for the night, we got to get the story kind of behind Lessons, where the song came from, and then if you don't mind playing it for us, we'll go ahead and give you the stage, man.
Yeah. So I wrote this with Dave Turnbull and Whitney Duncan. And Whitney came in and she's like, I was thinking about just writing a song about lessons. And we started working on this thing and knew immediately that we had something special. We probably spent 6-7 days writing on it at night and during the day, just thinking about it, just because we knew that it was worth it. I'm kind of slow anyways. And man, like immediately it got put on hold for a lot of people. And I decided at the last minute to put it on my record. We released a music video for it a couple of months ago, and it ended up, I think it just hit 800,000 views today. So it's on its way to 1 million, hopefully. But yeah, that's it, man. It's probably my favorite song I've ever written.
I love that, man. I did not know Whitney Duncan was a co-writer on it either, and that's kind of full circle because talking about Jonathan Singleton, that's his cousin. That's cool, man. All right, dude, here's the stage.
A bully won't stop till you stand up to. You ain't gonna win if you plan on losing. Sometimes a curse can be a blessing. So wait your turn and learn your lessons. Don't hold a grudge, it'll make you bitter. Don't think that money's gonna make you richer. And happiness ain't about possessions. Gotta crash and burn and learn your lessons. You can't win them all. You can't change the past. Don't take for granted what you got. Don't always want what you don't have. Take some chances, have some faith. Make the most of every day. 'Cause it could all be over in a second. Don't miss a day with your old man fishing. Or a cup of coffee in your mama's kitchen. 'Cause life is short and time is precious. Sometimes it hurts to learn your lessons. You can't win them all. You can't change the past. Don't take for granted what you got. Don't always want what you don't have. Take some chances, have some faith. Make the most of every day. 'Cause it could all be over in a second. Don't break your heart if you know you love her. Don't let her leave 'cause you're too damn slow. 'Cause she'll move on and you'll regret it. Hold on to her and learn your lessons. Every choice has consequences. Take it from me and learn your lessons.
Man. Oh.
Fantastic.
I got my arm, the hair on my arm standing up again, dude.
That's awesome.
That song is just amazing, and I'm so glad that that's how we crossed paths on that, man. Everything, because like when I first heard that song, I was just blown away, and I still to this day I love it. I probably listened to it over 100 times by now. I still get blown away every time I hear it. So, but dude, thank you so much for spending the last hour of your time with us. Sorry, the little technical issues we had at the beginning. I'm glad we got that worked out. But your story, man, is just unbelievable, and we wish you nothing but the best. And I really hope that song lands in the right hands. And I hope Tim McGraw gets to hear that song because, dude, that would blow wide open for him, I think.
Fingers crossed, man. Thank you all for having me. It's good to meet y'all.
You too, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, next time I'm in Nashville, I'll have to holler and let you know, man. I know we'll be down there for Americana Fest, and we're going to miss the one at Hall of Fame on September 12th by like a day. I think I come in town on September 13th. So I come in the 13th to the 17th. I'm in town for 4 days covering Americana Fest, which should be a fun one.
Well, shoot me a text back. Maybe you can catch a Bluebird show or something.
For sure,
Yeah,
brother.
awesome.
For sure, man. But hey, you have a great time, man, and we'll get together soon. All right.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Again.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
I love it. Ah, man,
I
this
wish we
story.
had so many audio issues.
I know, 'cause you would have heard it.
Bad.
You know what? I think it is iPhone. It's iPhone issues.
It might be.
I always notice. I think when we have somebody using an iPhone, we have that. But
We may need to recommend not using.
I don't know.
We'll see.
But then again,
We didn't lose any audio. It's just it was catching up as soon as he would stop talking, so we can splice that together.
Yeah, we could figure.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's always fun on my end, and it still shows that we're on.
Thanks everybody who listened, who watched.
Shows we're on
It
the
was
right one.
fantastic. It was a good episode.
It was. I had a lot of
The kids
fun.
are pretty quiet. There was a couple bangs, but no tears. So.
I know. No, I really enjoyed talking with Tommy. His story is just amazing, and I like how he kind of first heard the music and how he talked about it. He first heard it, and he knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write those songs.
Do you know what movie I'm gonna watch tonight?
What?
I forget what it's called.
With River Phoenix?
Oh my gosh, I used to watch that movie all the time when I was little.
Yeah.
Not little, but younger.
We'll put it on.
Totally watch that movie tonight. Oh my
So-
god,
She'll be like, what was that? You wrote it
A Thing
down
Called
too.
Love.
Yeah, I was gonna say you wrote it down too. See,
I
there
forgot
you
all
go.
about that movie.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight on episode 140 with Tommy Karlas. The passion and drive he has for his music and life speaks volumes. We want to wish Tommy nothing but the best. Can't wait to see what he accomplishes in the rest of 2022 and beyond. So don't forget to catch up on everything you missed from tonight and past episodes over at melodiesandmemories.com. The new website is up and running. If you haven't checked it out, it's pretty cool. So definitely go give it a visit and see some past episodes, some really cool things, other things on that website, and some really cool reviews too. But this Saturday we are going to attempt to go live. So I know it's against Jillian's better judgment, I guess, or wishing.
I'm not a live girl. I'm a structure, record, edit, make sure it looks good.
So our next episode is this Saturday. We don't have a time set just yet. We're trying to get a time, but it's gonna be with a band that I pretty much first fell in love with, and pretty much the first band I ever followed in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been seeing these guys since the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's a pleasure to be able to interview them this Saturday, and I cannot wait. So I will have a time, and we're going to attempt to go live sometime Saturday. We'll figure it out. And we hope it works. We were hoping for internet, and we're hoping everything works out. So, but our next podcast will be Saturday, and we'll see you guys then. If not, have a great week, and yeah, what are we going to say?
Bye.
Have a good one, guys.